This is Andy Obermueller with StreetAuthority, and I'd like to take an opportunity to talk with you about game changers. These are companies that enter an industry and completely alter the competitive landscape. As an example, Apple introduced the iPod and revolutionized the music business. And Netflix and Redbox burst into the suburban scene and changed how American families rent movies. This isn't just an interesting social phenomenon. These companies also offer remarkable opportunities for investors. That's because in the process of launching their goods and services, of gaining ubiquity in the marketplace, the shareholders of these game changers often see tremendous returns. I'm not talking just a few points ahead of the market. I'm talking about a few decimal places. I'm talking about knocking the cover off the ball. Think about America's leading companies. In most cases, their founders became fantastically rich. But even modest stakes in those game-changer companies created multimillionaires. I've personally met Walmart retirees to whom founder Sam Walton gave stock in the early days of the retail giant. The resulting wealth generated by that stock could support some of those families for generations to come. The bottom line is that these game changers are a two-for-one win-win deal. They don't only remake the competitive business landscape with a disruptive technology, they can vastly bolster the net worth of their early investors. Those are the companies I look for. In fact, I've started a new letter that's entirely devoted to swinging for the fences. It's about making space in your portfolio for big winners. Now, you can learn more about this letter at StreetAuthority.com, but right now, I want to take a moment and tell you about a game changer in the making. I've got 4 of them I want to tell you about. Today, we're going to focus on one in the medical arena. And our story starts with some recently published research findings from the American Cancer Society. Now, these findings deal with a serious type of cancer, the second leading cause of cancer-related death. It's colon cancer. And 1 in 19 people will be diagnosed with this disease in their lifetimes. The American Cancer Society's finding basically emphasized one thing about colon cancer. It simply must be detected early for the patient to have the best chance of survival. And here's a direct quote that really broke my heart. Despite the evidence supporting the effectiveness of colorectal screening and the availability of various screening tests, half of the U.S. population aged 50 and older has not been tested. If you take no other advice from me today, would you please talk to your doctor about colorectal screening and encourage your loved ones to do the same? Now, I'm going to speak frankly about this for a minute. I know it's not a pleasant topic, but I'm not going to talk around it. The reality is most people don't get this procedure because it's a horrible test. It's risky. It hurts. It's unpleasant to think about. It takes time, and it ruins a whole day. But it doesn't have to. Just as technology changed the movie business and the music industry and every other thing in the world, so too will emerging medical technology change the colonoscopy. And that's great news. The reality is that the traditional optical colonoscopy is on its way to obsolescence as a diagnostic tool. It will give way to a virtual procedure that patients are far likelier to take advantage of. Current research shows that when virtual colonoscopies are available, screening rates go up, and as screening rates go up, mortality goes down. That's a good thing. Plus, optical colonoscopies aren't infallible. They have their limits. In fact, it turns out that some places in the colon are very hard to see using a scope. And a recent study showed optical colonoscopies are far less effective than previously thought. But virtual colonoscopies, which use a CT scanner to take a picture from outside the body, are 90% accurate. Plus, there's no need for a general anesthetic, which some older patients can't tolerate, and there's no risk of perforation of the bowel, which can be life-threatening. Now, the company at the vanguard of this major shift in diagnostic protocols is iCAD, trading on the NASDAQ. ICAD is the ticker symbol. And it's already a major participant in the industry and a leader in the space, though the name is probably more familiar to your radiologist than to you as a patient. Right now, the federal government is poised to approve iCAD's virtual colonoscopy tool, which will open up a whole new market. iCAD already has leading mammography tools. In fact, they were just selected for use in VA and military hospitals. So, in other words, when the Pentagon needed a weapon to fight breast cancer, it chose iCAD. And I think iCAD is going to be the clear choice as doctors and their patients start embracing virtual colonoscopies. This software takes advanced medical images and turns the data into diagnostic intelligence. Software, a recent Blue Cross study concluded, is the most critical component of the virtual colonoscopy. And iCAD has the best, most accurate, and most capable software in the industry. Mark my words. Manufacturers like GE and Siemens, the companies that make CT scanners, will be selling their machines with this technology embedded in them in the near future. And iCAD will benefit. iCAD chairs are trading at less than $2. I foresee $20 as a reasonable target price, and I don't think it's going to take very long to hit it. iCAD is a game changer, and I think it has the potential to move the needle on your portfolio as well. I'm Andy Obermueller with Street Authority, and I wish you many happy returns.